one chip off the old block. Looking at you got me thinking about my old pops. How I'ma navigate and get you through the road.
I was raised to be excellent.
Oh, okay.
After I think about like some of the, it was a lot of pressure. Like it felt like a lot of pressure, like as a kid. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to do that to my daughter. Like I want her to be great for sure, but like to be like you have to be the all-time best. Like you have to be like I know they say in order to get ahead, like as a black child, you have to be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times as better, you know, as your white counterparts or whatever the case may be. And I know what type of pressure that put on myself, and I don't want to put that pressure on my daughter.
I heard this guy say one time. He said, build something worth creating a community around. Now, what better community to build something around than fatherhood? I want you guys to meet Danny. Danny is a Dadvocate and a hashtag girl dad. You guys may know him behind his brand of Strong Black Fathers. It's a Facebook group and a page on Instagram where he curates fatherhood content and just puts it out there for the masses. Some of the stuff that we talk about here is male birth control, a very interesting subject. Can you be a deadbeat grandparent? And introversion. I'm definitely not in the introverted category, but you know, some people are. And that's what this show's about. Perspective. Hope you guys enjoy this one. I'm always wondering, like, who decides when to stop? Is it like the guy that decides when to stop, or is it the girl?
I think it's probably joint.
Joint?
I think it has to be joint because you think about it, you can't just be like I'm done, because the other one's gonna be like, nah, I'm not done. Well, let's say this: it's the wife, right? If the wife wants to be done, you're done. But if the man wants to be done, if the husband wants to be done, then it might not happen, right? And then it needs to be joint.
Yeah, so you're saying there is a hierarchy.
Oh, of course there is.
So it's the woman first. If the woman is done, then it's
done.
Then it's a wrap, right?
It's done.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. See, I'm thinking more like, I feel like if a guy really doesn't want to have another kid, like he's gonna do whatever to like.
Right. Now he can take care of himself. He can go, you know, get a vasectomy, take care of himself. But other than that, if she wants another kid, she might sneak another kid out you.
Yeah, they'll end up doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So then, like, I'm thinking, I've been reading a lot of stuff about like have you read the stuff about the guy birth control, the male birth control?
Nah, I've not seen that. What is it?
It's a shot.
Okay.
All right, and it's a shot that you take. I don't know where you take it, like in your butt or your thigh or something like that. But you take this shot, and it's supposed to just like stop all your like your soldiers, your soldiers from marching.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram about it, and a lot of guys are like, nah, I don't want to take that. Then you got the women on the other side, and they're like, well, what's wrong with doing that? Like, we take birth control, we do all this stuff, why can't you?
Yeah.
So what do you think? You think that...
How long does it last, do you know?
Let's say it's about the same. Let's say it's like you got they have the shots that last for like a year.
Yeah.
3 years and all that kind of stuff. Just something equivalent.
I would have to look at what the repercussions are, right? Like, is it gonna like lower my count? Like, what's gonna happen overall?
Let's assume it's like the same, because I feel like when women take birth control, it's like maybe their sex drive decreases or something like that, maybe a little bit. Okay. Let's assume all the same side effects.
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I think that's situational. For me, I think it'd have to be situational.
Oh, word.
Yeah. Like, let's say, for whatever reason, my wife couldn't take birth control anymore. Like, maybe there's some medical reasons. Then, of course, I would step up and do what has to be done. Like, if we're not going to be having kids for any.
Oh, so she's first choice.
I mean, listen, man, I like to look at the science behind things, and if you're saying this shot is pretty new, there might not be a lot of research behind it, so...
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a team player. I'm all for it. But there needs to be a level of, like some kind of proof, some kind of research.
For sure.
This thing needs to be around for a while for you to figure out whether or not you're going to take this shot in your arm or your thigh or something like that. You know what I mean?
You don't know what's gonna do to your body.
Yeah, I don't know at all. I got a couple friends. They went and gotten like a vasectomy, and those, I mean, they were like pretty much pressured into it because you can go 2 ways. You can get the tubes tied with the woman, or the vasectomy with the guy, right? Yeah. And their wives or girlfriends or whatever, they say, well, I'm the one that went through all of the childbirth and all of that kind of stuff, so I'm the one. Or you should step up and go ahead and get the snip. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So have y'all ever had that discussion? I mean, y'all got one kid right now. There might be more later, but have y'all ever even talked about it?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. I'm gonna stay away from. I can't get snipped, bro.
Nah.
I don't think so, man.
Okay.
I feel like I have a low tolerance for like needles and like getting like cut and stuff. Like
No type of pain.
No, I just can't do it. I don't even like getting shots, like flu
Yeah.
shots and all that kind of stuff. I'm not even a huge fan of flu shots. You want me to take my pants off and get snipped?
That sounds, yeah. See, when you say it like that, I'm imagining, I'm like, nah, it can't happen. But there's actually another way, at least for women. I don't know.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that works too. That works too. But I don't know if it's for men too. But like, you can get like burn. Like instead of like your tubes tied, you can get like your tubes like cut and burned, and that's it.
Well, that sounds like it's still an incision is still required.
Yeah.
So it's all the same after you get.
But it's not gonna heal back up. I think that's what the case is. Now I don't know what a vasectomy includes in total. Like I don't know if you got to get the snip and then the burn, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see maybe.
Enough vasectomy talk.
Yeah,
all
for
right?
sure. Cause that ain't happening.
So I got like this weird interest, right?
Okay.
Right now, I'm no like psychologist or anything like that. Not even close. Right?
Okay.
I am like a fan of human psychology and all
Okay.
of that, right?
Yeah.
So I find myself with Taj, with my son, I find myself trying to predict like what his personality is going to be.
Mm.
Like, do you kind of do like? I feel like I'm in the extrovert category,
Okay.
right? So I'm trying to figure out, is Taj going to be in this extrovert category as well? Extrovert, introvert, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So what do you categorize yourself as, and what do you think your
So
Maya is?
that's an interesting question because, when I was younger, like if you ask anybody in my family, I was an extrovert, very much so extrovert, like always out talking to strangers, whatever the case may be. As I became older, and to this day, I categorize myself more of an introvert. Now, I can turn it on when it needs to be turned on, and I work in sales, so I have to turn it on. But day to day, I would much rather just be, at the house, reading a book, doing some work, whatever the case may be. Like I'm not a club goer or party goer. I never was that type at all. So with my daughter, she is also Maya. She's also the same. She is very much an extrovert right now. Like she'll say hi to anybody, talk to anybody wherever we go. So I'm wondering if that will continue, or if the reverse or the same thing that happened to me will happen in which she'll become an introvert as she becomes older. And I was told that it kind of that kind of happens. Like whatever you are as a child, you tend to switch later in life. Now I don't know if that's the case for you, but I've heard that.
Interesting. So how old is Maya?
Maya is 4.
She's 4 years old. All right. So what things that like what? I wonder if you can get like those two confused when you're that young.
Okay.
Right. I'm just asking. I don't know. Like, is she extroverted? Like, there's people in the room and she likes to dance around on the table.
Oh yeah,
she'll
she'll be dancing. Like she has like a microphone or whatever. Like when there's people in the house, like even strangers in the house, she'll be like, hey, like come listen to this song, and she'll get on the microphone, start singing "Let It Go" from Frozen or whatever the case may be. So yeah, she's very much so an extrovert.
Yeah, I was reading a lot about the introverts, extroverts, because I always looked at an introvert as being like a negative thing.
Yeah, I feel like back in the day, they definitely classified that as like something to not want to be.
Yeah. But then you got like Steve Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was like categorized as an extrovert.
As an extrovert or
introvert?
Yeah.
What's the guy from Tesla?
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Elon Musk. He's definitely. I mean, he's clearly.
He's out there. He's an introvert, but he's out there.
He's clearly. So she was saying like being an introvert isn't like a bad thing. She
No.
said you need the introverts to like do a lot of like the work, the head down work.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Wozniak,
Yeah.
that made the Apple computer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he made it at his desk as a regular individual like contributor.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
So and a part of me doesn't want to put like that label on kids.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like say, oh, you are introvert, you are extrovert, because I just don't know if it's too early to tell. You know what I mean?
Do you feel as though he is an introvert? Is that why you're saying that?
I don't think he is. I don't know, but it's like, I don't know, because when we're at home, he's big body, he's running around the house doing backflips and stuff.
Yeah.
Then we'll get into like maybe around some other kids, and he may be a little bit timid.
Yeah.
But it takes him a little time to warm up.
Right.
But I don't know if that's an attribute of like an introvert.
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, okay.
But
all right.
I don't see that as a bad thing, like to me, because like you said, it takes him a little bit of time to warm up. But once he does warm up, I'm sure he's acting the same as he would as home or at home. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing to me, the introvert extrovert theory of everything. So what about so if you have an introverted kid or an extroverted kid, I wonder if you try to give them like a different kind of edge.
I think you should play to your kid's strengths. I think I don't know about for you, but for me growing up, like my parents just like pushed whatever agenda they wanted on me, right? So I mean, I definitely stuck to it. Like I was that good kid. Like I was like, I'm whatever my parents say, I got to do it. So I definitely stuck to it. But like as an adult now, I'm like, there was definitely some things that I am way better at that I should have been focusing on, and I'm now focusing on now. So I think like that's something that's important to do. And for kids, it's a little bit different because they're always changing and growing. But if you can actually figure out, what are some of their strengths, it's probably going to continue to be the same way even into adulthood.
Yeah. Yeah, so like if do you find with your kid, like I don't know if she's so extroverted that you try to like tone her down and get her to like do things kind of like by herself, you know what I mean? Because I'm looking at it like sometimes you can get to a point where you're craving a lot of attention, and I think I've saw myself in this situation because I'm so extroverted and I just crave I like being in a crowd of people and talking to a crowd of people, and like I like that attention. Yeah. And then it's like if I'm by myself, it's like, oh well, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do by myself. you know what I mean?
Oh man.
So I'm wondering if there's some situations that you've seen where you've tried to have to tone down some of her extrovertedism or something like that.
Nah, man. So, I mean, I guess sometimes like when we sit back and we like get into studying and get into actually doing some work, like she has her iPad, we'll do like ABC Mouse or something like that. Yeah. Like there'll be times in which she wants like break free a little bit, and run around or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, she's actually really good. Like when it's time to sit down and do work, like she's a very studious little girl. Like she'll sit down and go through. Right now we're practicing reading. Yeah. So right now she'll go through. She'll actually look through the book, find the words that she knows, and be like, Dad, here, come over here. Daddy, come over here. Like the, to, and she'll go through the words that she knows. So like, I think I got real lucky. Like I'll say that. I think I got really lucky, which kind of scares me for like the next kids. It's like she didn't cry when she was a baby. She slept through the night. Like I just got really lucky. So I don't know if it's ever gonna happen again.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. My kid does the same thing. Like sleeps all through the night, like 8-9 hours. Yeah. Like we don't have any like sleeping. When other parents say, "Oh, I've been up since like 4 a.m.," I'm like, "Yeah,
that sucks. That sucks for you."
Let me just back up out of this whole conversation right here. So, so you sparked my memory when you were talking about like when you guys do homework, because I have like, my mom would hate me if I said it, but I have like horror stories of my mom going over homework with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I completely agree. I completely agree.
Like, what's stupid? I don't know. Yeah. What's the answer? Do you know the answer? I don't know. Think about it.
The level of patience was zero. Like zero tolerance for none of that.
So do you find yourself like leaning towards that side?
No, absolutely not, man. Like I'm a super and I think it's just with her. Like I'm very, very patient, and maybe it's like because I remember like I have a little sister, and I remember trying to help my little sister when doing homework when she was like a kid, and I had zero patience. Like I would do that type of thing, like the answer, like come on, like let's get through this. Like, and maybe it's because I was a kid myself, so I had little patience. But now with my daughter, man, doesn't matter what it is, I'm super patient.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
So that's what I was wondering, because with me, my mom was like, no, stop it. No,
right.
You know the answer.
Basically giving you the answer to get through that question.
So I'm gonna go over some of these. I'm gonna call them childisms.
Okay.
Let me see if your childhood was similar to mine.
Yeah.
All right. So
for sure.
Do this because I said so.
Yeah.
All right. I'm grown.
Yep.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yep.
Do those hold up today to you?
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yes.
Nah, I don't believe in that one at all. Like, I think that you need to, especially as a father, like as a parent in total, but as a father, you need to be the person who actually leads your family by example. I think that as a leader, period, you need to lead by example. So you have to actually show the right things to do, and then it'll be a little bit easier for your child to do it, and then you can also help guide them to do those things. So do as I say, not as I do, man. Like that one sticks with me a lot, because that's what my parents said over and over again.
So this is my thing about it. I'm not necessarily against it. I think I teeter the line.
Okay.
So let's say you didn't go to college, right? And you're trying to get your kid to go to college.
Yeah.
You didn't go to college, so how are you going to tell your kid?
That one is a little bit different. That one is a little bit different.
How is that different?
Because if you do, like, I believe in education to a point, right? Like, if you know what you're going to do with your life, I think college is a good option. And I mean, college does have its benefits, because I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? But I got some connections and things like that. But I think it's more beneficial when you know what you want to do. So if you're trying to get your kid to go to college, then you should probably help them figure out what it is that they should be doing.
Yeah, but in that situation, that do as I say, and I can think of 1,000 more that's like that. That do as I say, not as I do thing. I mean, that doesn't work. So I feel like in conversations, you're allowed to say, do as I say, not as I do.
I think that's by case basis. Like, you need to take that one at a time. You can't that can't be overall, because you think about certain things like, I don't know, maybe you're a messy person and you try to get your kid to be a clean person. Like, that doesn't work out.
Yeah, but so it's almost like you live a certain life, right? And you've developed these habits over the past X amount of years, right? If you develop these habits over X amount of years, like, and you can't really break it, but you can teach it and you can educate on it. You shouldn't be able to say, hey, do this, even though that's not something that I'm doing. You shouldn't be able to do that. You don't think so?
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I think it's easier and it makes more sense, especially for a child, to understand. Like, it makes more sense if they can see that you're doing it as well. Like, instead of just being like, hey, I'm not doing this, but you should work on this. Like, it helps out, at least if you're even working on it. Like, if you're working on it yourself and then you tell your kid, like, this is the way that things should go, then I think that helps out a lot more than just completely just being like, oh, these are my habits, but you should have your own habits. Like, you should have better habits, you know?
Yeah, see, I guess I can agree with it a little bit. I know a lot of people don't like to do as I say, not as I do thing. So what about do this because I said so? Like, offering no explanation behind why you're telling your child to do something and just telling them to do it.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one at all either, man.
Okay.
I try to explain everything to my kid. Like, if Maya is telling me, like, if Maya has a question and I answer that with, like, if I say something like, just because, I always backtrack and I'm like, well, listen, like, this is actually the reason for that, because I feel like growing up, like, when we heard those things, like, just because, like, it always irritated me. It was like, there has to be a deeper reason. So I try to always give my daughter a better reason than just because.
Yeah. But
playing devil's advocate again.
I don't know if I'm just saying the things that I think that I would that I would hear.
Okay.
So I feel like some kids are kids, right? Adults are adults, and they have a different level of, like, understanding.
For sure.
Right? So maybe this is a case by case basis, but I feel like you need to, what's the word I'm looking for? You need to exercise the fact that you have this experience, right? And leverage that experience. And if it's something that, like, maybe it'll go over their head. You know what I mean?
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with saying something that my kid can't even understand, but it might get the cogs moving in their head. So I think that is probably more important to, at least for me. Like, everybody, tell your kid what you want to tell your kid, but for me to try to explain to my daughter certain things like that is far more important than just letting it go by the wayside.
Yeah. So you're saying you're okay with putting in the extra effort and just repeating and being just
for sure,
just repeating stuff over and over again. And if she catches it, you know, if she doesn't, she may catch it one day.
Yeah, she might catch it a year or two later. That's fine.
Yeah.
Man.
So why did our parents do that to us? Were they less patient?
Yeah, man, it's level of patience. Like I feel like that older generation, like they had a lot of things that they were dealing with, and maybe it's the fact that they were raised a certain way or whatever the case may be. But like I know from my parents, they came from Ghana. Like they came from Ghana. They had a lot of different things that they were dealing with. They didn't have the patience at all. So I'm trying to break that cycle.
Yeah. So you've eliminated those childhood isms.
They gone. Yeah. Hopefully they're completely gone.
So what do you think about strategically? I'm trying to get your kid to be smart.
How do you mean strategically?
So, like, do you do things intentionally because you think that this is going to make Maya smart, your daughter smart?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we do, like I said, we do like the ABC mouse, probably do that like 30 minutes every day. Mm-hmm. Read every night, things like that. Like, and have her like actually sound out words. Like, I think certain things like that will help in her development. But I think past that, like, that's the job, right? Like to help them out with their development.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking like a little further. Like, I don't know. I don't think that you do this. I just want to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
your thoughts on it. Like, I've heard of parents like putting headphones on their kid.
Oh, okay. Like when they sleep.
Yeah, like when they sleep, and have them listen to Mozart because Mozart is the all-time level of intelligence for.
Apparently, yeah.
I guess so. Parents that do things like that, like.
So I was that parent.
You did that?
Not so. All right. Not when she was born, but when my girlfriend was pregnant, I bought the they're like the little things that you put on the tummy. I bought that and was like and played Mozart and stuff like that. I was that dad.
I did that.
Okay. All right. I was like, oh man, is it just me?
I did that, but I feel like when they're in the womb, it's different, right? I feel like it's a different game. Like when they come out. I don't know, and it's like maybe because we're like black parents, I feel like I need to do certain things to like make sure that he like gets ahead.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's that?
So the fact that you said that is something I just talked to my friends about. I don't know if you've seen the movie Queen and Slim.
Not yet. I haven't seen it.
Okay, so in that movie they say something about black people always feeling the need to be excellent and not being able to just be themselves. Why do you feel as though you need to have your son be excellent?
Because if I'm thinking about his environment, mm-hmm. right? So if his environment is not necessarily always going to be the culture that he's brought up in, like us black parents, this isn't always going to be his culture. His culture is going to be like Caucasian people, Indian people, and all of that. And amongst your peers, I feel like you do need to stand out, like amongst your peers when it comes to education. Mm-hmm. When it comes to like schooling and all that, and for you to stand out when you're black, you have to do more than what the next person does. Yeah, I mean, I can have 1,000 credentials, and just the way the culture is set up, maybe somebody who's Caucasian, white, or whatever phrase that you want to use, they'll be able to get a little bit further ahead just because of the culture that they're brought up in. So, for me, I like to push. Not push like uncomfortably, but I like to push that narrative of trying to get my kid to do things to make him excel. Yeah, I want him to excel because he needs to be better than the people around him. Yeah, right. He can't be on par because he'll lose. Mm-hmm. Right. He needs to be excellent. So that's why for me.
Okay. Were you raised like that?
I wasn't.
To be excellent.
I wasn't raised like that. No.
So I was raised to be excellent.
Oh. Okay.
I think about like some of the. It was a lot of pressure. Like it felt like a lot of pressure, like as a kid. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to do that to my daughter. Like I want her to be great for sure, but like to be like you have to be the all-time best. Like you have to be like I know they say in order to get ahead, like as a black child, you have to be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times as better. As your white counterparts or whatever the case may be. And I know what type of pressure that put on myself, and I don't want to put that pressure on my daughter. I do want her to be great, like I said, but. I feel like there's a whole nother added level of pressure when you say something like that.
What kind of pressure did you feel?
I just felt like I had to be the greatest at everything. Like if school, sports, like I was the first person to go to college in my family. I felt like I had to do really good there. Just in every, and I still carry that with myself to this day. And maybe that's just a part of my personality now. But yeah, I felt like I needed to be great.
Yeah, see, I almost wish I would have been brought up like that.
Okay.
Like just have my mom just be like, no, you can do better than that. You can do better. It's almost, and my mom was single, right? Single black mom, so it was just her. So she had a lot of stuff to worry about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say like the bare minimum was fine for her, because if I brought home like a D or something like that,
that's not gonna slide.
That wasn't cutting it. But if I brought home a C plus, she says, oh, that's okay. And,
okay.
Say, oh, she said that's okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But I think and I'm not like critiquing my mom saying like she sucked bringing us up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, if I was put in that environment where you got to get A's and everything and you got to do the best, I think that would have stuck with me for a long time. Now I'm just thinking that in the last like 10 years, like I need to be better than all of these people.
I got you.
And I'm just now getting it. And I feel like I wanted that like growing up, because a lot of the things growing up was like, yeah. I mean, even though I was like super competitive, especially like with sports, there was something in the back of my head was like, it's not that deep.
Yeah, I feel like that though is something that's gonna help out regardless. Like like having competitive nature. So like maybe later on there's something that you actually really want, and having that competitive nature is gonna help you get it. Like you're gonna want to be the best in that because you have that competitive nature. Like I feel like because I was raised to always want to be the best, like there's certain things that don't matter that I really want to be the best in, and I get really particular over little things that don't really matter at the end of the day. And that's that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to create another person who has those type of I guess anxieties or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that, because it's a lot of stuff that I do. For example, actually I posted a video about it. Taj had a homework assignment. He's 1 year old,
right,
about to be 2 years old. And they had this, what is it? It's a turkey. It was a turkey feather.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I saw that. Okay.
So they had this turkey feather, and they said, decorate it with the things that you love, right? And, bring it back in and we'll hang it up. And to me, I'm like, I want his to stand out above everybody's. And I was dead serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, when she told me that, everything she said after that was like a blur. Right? It was like, wah, wah, wah.
You already thinking about what it's going to look like.
I'm thinking it in my head.
Yeah.
It's literally, I'm thinking it in my head. And we get home, and I tell Rachel, or Rachel told me, hey, did you see that they need to do this? I'm like, yeah, I saw that. I bought a ton of stuff. I bought like some stickers, a bunch of markers, and all this stuff. And what was going to happen is I was going to do it, and Taj was going to be in attendance.
Yeah.
And it just got to a point where I was just like, I mean, I don't know if I'm like the anxiety type, but I was like, why am I going through all of this just to paint his feather? Because I want him to stand out in daycare?
Yeah.
I want him to stand out in daycare?
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense?
And I completely understand what you're saying. I had something like that recently happen. My daughter had to do like a family tree project. And when I first heard about the project, like I basically started printing out the pictures and getting everything ready. And then before we started gluing, like I was going to start gluing all this stuff on the poster, and I was like, hold up, this ain't my homework assignment. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is for her to learn, for her to be able to put this together. So I completely stepped back from there. I was just like, put the pictures however you want to put them. And then I helped her, put the glue on the back so it didn't get super messy. But after I had to take a step back, like, there's certain things that are for children. Like, these are children's assignments, so our children need to be doing them, not us.
Yeah, and I think that's something I got working, because I can see that happening.
Yeah,
I can see that happening a lot, especially when we get into like high school and all that. When it's really like competitive.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want it to happen in high school, because at that point, then you're just doing the work, and they're just showing up. Yeah,
and I think a part of me is like, I think I'm just getting brainwashed a little bit by the culture of like, I don't know if I feel like people are getting less competitive now, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, with all the participation and stuff like that.
Yeah, with all like the participation awards and, hey, you won 12th place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pretty weird, but yeah.
So maybe I don't want my son to like get that. I want him to like be competitive and remain competitive. And I'm thinking, if I show this, then that would do something to allow him to be like, okay, yeah. We are supposed to be competitive in this family and not everybody be friends and all of that.
Or it could do the exact opposite, especially if you're doing the work, right? Like if you're doing the work for him and you want it to show him to be competitive, but he's like, nah, my dad's gonna do it. Like my dad's gonna I don't have to do nothing. My dad's gonna take care of it.
Yeah. So
it could have the exact opposite effect too.
Yeah, that's true. See, I'm working on myself. I'm not the most perfect person.
Nobody is, man.
You see, so I identify some of these issues that I think that we're gonna run into, and I try to figure out how to change it if I can.
For sure.
You know what I mean? All right. Oh yeah, that was related to when we were talking about the stress and things like that. Like,
yeah,
there's this guy. He had this. I guess he's like a philosopher or something, or a psychologist. He got this thing. It's called the zone of proximal development.
Okay,
right?
I've not heard of it.
So this means that there is a zone in your brain that kids should operate in. Not even just kids, but people.
Okay.
And it should be right in the middle of very stressful and not stressful, right? So they want tasks that are not too easy, but tasks that are too hard or too difficult, it creates a level of stress and anxiety in adults and in kids that they shouldn't have.
All right.
But I'm not necessarily against that, but maybe I'm just going back to the whole, like, kids are becoming less competitive and less caring, I guess, about like being good at things, and like it's almost like mediocre is okay for a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Does that do you read that as the same?
For certain things, yeah. Like how we're talking about participation awards. Like I feel like there's almost a level of entitlement when that happens, right? Because no matter how well I perform, somebody is going to award me. Somebody's going to give me a pat on the back or a good job for even doing less than I'm capable of. And I think that's a problem. Like, you shouldn't want to shoot for the lowest. Like, you should always want to shoot to be the best, or at least do your best. Like, even if you can't be the best, do your best.
Yeah.
So I do think that there's an issue with that there. But in terms of like in terms of what you have the capability of learning, I don't know, man. I feel like you should push yourself. Like, if you can't do it, you can't do it. You'll find out you can't do it. Like, especially as an adult. As a kid, it's maybe a little bit different, and maybe the parents should help out, figure out what your kid can and can't do.
Yeah.
That sounds really wrong, but yeah, like as an adult, you should definitely push yourself.
Yeah. So what do you think about is there such thing as a broken family?
Oh, that's tough, man. That's tough. Yeah. I do think you can be a part of a broken family. I don't think everybody is, and I think like there's certain aspects of a family, like, for it to be considered a broken family, but like there's certain parts of a family that can be broken. Like I'll be candid. I'll talk about a little bit about my own experience. I didn't grow up with my biological father. I grew up with my stepfather probably around 2 years old. I was like 2 years old when he came in my life. But it's really weird, man. I don't know anything about the dude. Like, he wasn't like a really good guy, but I don't know him either. Like, I know nothing about him. Like, I talk to my mom. I'm an adult now, right? So I talk to my mom about certain things. Like, we can have conversations about things that she did when she was a little bit younger, whatever the case may be. And I'm getting to know her more and more. But my stepdad, it's not only that I don't know him, but I don't really even care to want to know him. Like, it's weird. Like, I was talking to my friends about this because growing up, like, there were certain things that he did that just kind of never rubbed us the right way. Like, me and my brothers, or even my little sister, who is his daughter, like, he wasn't really awesome too. He was definitely better to her than to us. But anyway, like, I remember he bought a Nintendo 64 for us, but never let us have it. Like, literally just kept it in his room. Yeah, PlayStation, bought it for us, never let us have it. I was too young to remember this, but my brothers remember this. One day he came home and he was like, "Y'all are calling me dad now." Like, just weird stuff like that. Yeah, like, and I could never. There's other things as well, but I could never really give him like that full level of trust and that full level of like, yeah, you're definitely my dad. And I know this dude since I was 2 years old.
Yeah, that's what's interesting.
Yeah, so like certain things like that, like, that's a broken relationship. Is my entire family broken? No, but that's definitely a broken aspect within my family.
Yeah, that's interesting, because usually I think when I hear when I think of stepfather, I automatically think of maybe a dad that stepped up when the other dad, backed down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always think of a stepfather as in a positive light.
Yeah.
And you were saying you guys don't have a relationship.
Nah, man.
Wow.
Nah.
And you live together, right?
Yeah, until I moved out of the house. So yeah.
Wow, that is unique. I
Yeah.
feel like I haven't heard anything like that before. So like to this day, you guys don't.
Yeah, like to this day, I we talk, we say hi and stuff, but like that is not. It's like a cordial relationship.
So does he live with your mom still?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so he's in the life. He's in your life.
Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting.
That's what I'm saying. It's a really weird aspect. Like I said, you can have a family unit, but broken relationships within the family.
Yeah.
And still not have a broken family, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I always battle with the term broken family because I just feel like everybody has a level of dysfunction in their family that they want to change, right? And I think I know where the definition comes from. It's like, okay, when it's just outrageously
like
broken,
that. I
there's
completely understand.
multiple things going on.
Yeah.
But then in that, is that just somebody's walk? Is that just their life? Is just because they have multiple relationships that are probably array, is that considered still a broken relationship? I mean, I guess that's by definition that sounds like that's
like
what it is.
if there's multiple broken relationships within a unit, I think then you're looking at a broken family.
Yeah.
Like if mom don't talk to dad don't talk to the kids, mom don't talk to the kids, brother and sister don't talk, like we're talking like a whole bunch of broken relationships, then I think you're talking about a broken family.
Yeah. See, I'm wondering if when you talk about your stepdad, you have brothers, right? So your brothers, you all have the same kind of relationship with him?
Same, exactly. Even like I said, even my little sister, who is his biological child, she for the longest time growing up, she didn't realize, because that's not our dad, and we would say that, right? And she didn't even realize that was her dad, because the things that he did, it's not fatherly. It was really weird growing up, man. And to this day, that she even has a rocky relationship with him.
Yeah. So what about so have you ever had a conversation with him? And I'm asking because I'm wondering if there's somebody that's in a similar situation. What kind of advice would you give that person? How do you deal with that? Because I have no help here. Bro.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe I'm not a whole bunch of help. I think it depends on if you actually want that relationship. If there's something there to salvage. If you want that relationship, then maybe you reach out and you try to talk to that person. But I know, with my stepdad, he's not that guy. Maybe it's just that older generation type, I'm not going to talk about anything. I'm just going to bury it all deep. I'm aware that he's probably mimicking what he learned as a kid, that's how he was treated. So he's just going to keep passing that down. He thinks that that's what's right because it's what he knows. So I don't fault him for that. But yeah, to me, that's 20 plus years. The relationship's broken, man.
Yeah. So did any of that spawn your interest in building Strong Black Fathers, this platform that you have?
Yeah. To that and not ever knowing my biological father, that definitely went into it. That was definitely in my psyche. But also just feeling there's a lot of good dads out there who don't get any type of representation. That not a lot of people know about them. Maybe they're going through something. They want to be seen. They want to be recognized. Everybody wants a little bit of recognition. So that's definitely where it came from.
Yeah. And did you always want to do something like this, or?
I always wanted to have something. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I definitely always wanted to have something, a side project, a business, something like that. This definitely just came out of the fact that I was going through something in my life, and really the only thing that I had, I felt like I had, was I was a good dad. I was I might be losing in all these other aspects of my life right now, but I'm a damn good dad. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. See, I think that so my dad wasn't around either for it's one of those weird things. He lived around the corner, but he didn't come over. He battled with substance abuse and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost like he had an excuse. That was the reason why I didn't see him, because he had his own struggles. But I'm wondering how do people like you and I, how are you motivated to? Are you motivated to be a good dad?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I got two different fathers, right? And neither of them showed up, really. So how, like, I know how I grew up. I know certain things that I wanted. Why am I not going to give that to my kid? Like, why? And not only that, but I'm going to give it like times two. I'm going to reciprocate the things that should have happened to me and pass it down. So yeah, man, it definitely is motivation.
Yeah. So do you find yourself doing things like, oh, my dad, or I didn't experience this, so I want to experience this with you, or I didn't experience this with my dad, and I want you to experience this with me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm always at every function, every event. I'm talking to the teachers. I'm that dad. Like I'm the dad who's in there in every aspect.
Yeah, I feel like my motivation, I don't even know if I'm actually like motivated. And when I say I'm not motivated, it's like if my dad's, let's give him a scale. Okay. If my dad was here, right, this is very close to the the zero line.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
If it's very close to the zero line, like it's not going to take me very much time to surpass to surpass that.
Yeah.
So I mean, technically, I may have already surpassed it now. So I try not to lean on the fact that, or I try not to be competitive in that way.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just because I feel like, I'm just gonna live in a moment of being like a new husband and a new dad and all that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna live in a moment of that, and beating my biological father, that's not in my brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I completely understand. Like, it shouldn't be either. Like, you should just want to be the best version of yourself for your kid, for your wife anyway. So yeah, I get it.
Do you think that you are an extraordinary dad, or do you think that you are just doing what dads should do?
Ooh, that's tough, man. Because that goes back to the fact that we were talking about always wanting to be excellent. Nah, man, I think I'm doing what dads do. I'm doing what like somebody who shows up every day and wants to be a part of their kid's life does. So yeah.
So you're just so the things that you do aren't just extraordinary.
It's my level of dadding.
Level of dadding.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I'm gonna say.
That's good. So is there such thing as an extraordinary dad? Should we give dads those titles of extraordinary dads, or he's a really good dad?
Yeah, you can give somebody a title of a really good dad for sure.
Right,
yeah, somebody who's actually putting in the work, who's showing up every day, and I mean those are definitely like cliches, but for real though, like actually like doing more than just the minimum, like because you can be a dad who's not there. Mm-hmm. You can be a dad who just shows up and literally just shows up, like you're just there, like you're literally just there. There's no like interaction or anything like that. You can be the interactive dad, then you can be like the dad who is I'm taking care of it all. Like, I feel like there's levels to it.
Yeah. So you can be a good dad, or you can be like
he's there.
He's there. Do you believe in deadbeat grandparents? Is that a thing?
Whoa. Deadbeat I've never even heard that term.
Yeah,
deadbeat grandparents.
Let's start with grandparents. Can you be a deadbeat grandparent?
I guess. that's a hard one because like it's not your grandparents or your grandchildren aren't necessarily your responsibility. Like damn man, that's a really good question. I'm gonna have to say no.
You can't be a deadbeat grandparent.
I'm gonna say no. And the only reason why is for that reason, that your grandchildren are not necessarily your responsibility. And I know it's not the best answer, and maybe not everybody's gonna agree, but that's my answer. That's my answer.
So like, I don't know the answer to that. I think that's a strange question.
Yeah,
strange question actually, because I think as a grandparent, you do have a certain level of responsibility.
Do you think so?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I mean, you have to like. Okay, because it'll be very strange unless your grandparent lives like, in another country or something. Like if your grandparents are in Ghana, it's a little bit different. Yeah. Right? You can't really have that relationship like you really want it. So they're not really a deadbeat grandparent. But if your grandparent lives like around the corner or, maybe even in another state and they don't like call, they don't visit, what would you think about that? Like, would that be?
I think that has to do with the relationship you have with your parents, right? If you have a good relationship with your parents, then you would expect that your parents should have a good relationship with your children. So then you would expect that they wouldn't be a deadbeat grandparent. But if there's a strained relationship there, then I mean, you shouldn't expect anything. So if they are a deadbeat grandparent, then it's just like you don't have a good relationship with them anyway, so it's not that big of a deal.
Don't you want them to have that relationship with their grandparents? Like whatever that relationship is supposed to be. Now let's go to deadbeat uncle. Can you be a deadbeat anything besides like a regular parent? Is the only person that holds responsibility just the mom and dad?
To me, yeah. I don't think you can be a deadbeat uncle. Like and going back to levels of dadding, I think there's levels of uncling and levels of grandparenting. Like I think there's just levels to it. Like I think about like my own uncles. I didn't have like the best relationship with my own uncles. Like I didn't have a bad relationship. It's not like I talked to them every day or I expected Christmas presents and stuff like that.
Yep.
But for me, for my nephews, I'm definitely gonna give them Christmas presents. I'm definitely gonna talk to them more often than not. So yeah, so I just think there's levels to it.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, because like if I look at like my uncles, do I have uncles?
Now think about it for a second.
Maybe not really, actually. I mean, no uncles that I talk to.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily, I wouldn't put them in the deadbeat category because we don't have a relationship.
Are uncles expected to be like more than just like your parents' brothers and sisters or brothers?
When I think of like aunts and uncles, I feel like that they're supposed to like supplement and give you things when your parents doesn't want to give you.
Oh yeah, okay, I got you. Like that, yeah, okay. Same thing with grandparents. Like you just get the stuff that your parents won't give you.
No, like okay, let me put it like this. So like if you have an aunt and an uncle, right? Your aunt and uncle, if you don't see them for 5 years, you probably just expect maybe one present every few years, and that is okay, right?
Yeah.
If that happens with your grandparents, I feel like that's not all the way acceptable. All right.
Okay.
I feel like that there may be there's different levels, right? Different expectations. With your grandmother, you need her to tell you to put a coat on because you're going to catch pneumonia, right? With your grandmother, you need her to bake you some cookies and tell you to bundle up and all that kind of stuff. With your aunts and uncles, you need them to just buy you something random that they got from some random place when they were in some random location. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Does that make sense? How weird does that sound?
Nah, man, I get it. It definitely makes sense to me because like we're talking about tiers of uncling and aunting and grandparenting. Yeah, your grandparents, especially your grandmother, has to be that nurturing, soulful woman who just gives you. Yeah, you think about like soul food or something like that. Who just like they got a grandma who runs the family and does everything like that.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, uncles and aunts, I don't think they really have much responsibility, so they can do whatever they want to.
Yo, Danny is my man. Like that's my dude right there. If he hit me up and want to do something, want to collab on anything, I'm 100% gonna do it, no questions asked. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you go follow Danny. Follow his Instagram page, Strong Black Fathers. And let's just keep this thing going. Let's just keep it up. See you guys next time. Dadvocate.
Say use a chip off the old block. Looking at you got me thinking about my old pops. How I'ma navigate and get you through the roadblocks. You went from diaper change, poo-poo to potty train. Whoa, come and talk to me, I got a lot of game. Whoa, smile like your mama, but we look the same. Whoa, and you can talk all week, but somehow that